มีอาชีพไหมคะ no
No, that's okay. Good morning, on.
earn
On.
หนู
I see your name. Where are you?
หนูชื่อเอิญไหมลูก
ในห้องมีเอิญ2เอิญค่ะมีเอิญเลขที่15กับ22
อ๋อ sure there
Yeah.
are two earns
Oh, because there's earn, EARN, and then there's AON. On.
อ๋อ
AON. On.
on
On.
on AON
On.
right on นพ
Yeah.
คุณ
ครับ
Good morning teacher ค่ะ
Good morning teacher
Nice job. All right. Good morning, Tiger.
Tiger Tiger อยู่ไหมคะ ไม่อยู่ข้ามนะคะ not here
Not here. That's okay. Good morning, Otto.
Auto Auto not here
Not here. That's okay. Good morning, music.
Music ค่ะ Music นักเรียนไม่ขานแสดงว่าหนูไม่เข้าเรียนนะคะที่จะข้ามนะคะ not here
Not here. That's okay.
กูได้ยินเสียง
Good morning. Oh, is that you?
no
No. Good morning, Cake.
Cake
Good morning teacher
Nice job. Good morning, Gun.
กันกัน
ครับ
Good morning teacher ค่ะ
Good morning teacher
Nice job. Good morning, Toy.
เอ้ย
Good morning teacher
Nice job. Good morning, Yip.
ยิ้ม
Yip.
หยิบ
Good morning teacher
Yeah. Good morning, Love.
Good morning teacher
Nice job. Good morning, Bye.
Who's that teacher ไป
Yesterday I thought there was a bye. Is it I? Did I get it wrong? Is it just I?
มีนะคะห้องนี้มีคนชื่อปายไหมเป้ยปาย
I.
ห้องนี้ไม่มีค่ะมีแต่บ่าย
บาย
Bye. It is
BYE.
bye.
มีไหมคะ วันนี้เข้าเรียนไหมคะ มีไหมคะบาย not here
That's okay. Good morning. So we have I and Oi, right? AEY, I.
A E Y I เอ๋ยนะคะ เอ๋ย
Oi.
เอ๋ยขานรับ teacher good morning ค่ะลูก
Good morning ค่ะ teacher
Nice job. Good morning. And then good morning, Oi. Oh, Oi.
เอ้ย เอ้ย
Oi. That one is AOEY.
เอ๋ย เอ้ย ห้องเนี้ยมีเอ๋ยกับมีเอ๋ยหรือว่ามีเอ๋ย2เอ๋ยลูก
มีเอิญคนเดียว
มีเอ๋ยคนเดียว
ค่ะ
อะไรนะลูก เอิญว่าไงนะ
ห้องนี้มีเอิญคนเดียวค่ะ
ห้องนี้มีเอ๋ยคนเดียว
That's okay. Good morning, Nico.
มิโกะมีไหมคะ มีคนชื่อมิโกะไหมลูก
มีค่ะครู
ค่ะมีขานรับเลยลูก นักเรียนชื่อตัวเองนักเรียนต้องจำให้ได้นะคะ
Good morning teacher
Nice job. Good morning, Yim.
ยิ้ม
Yim.
ยิ้ม มีไหมคะ ยิ้มนัทศร ยิ้มพี่เชื่อเห็นชื่ออยู่นะ หลุดไปไหนแล้วล่ะ ยิ้มนัทศรเลขที่39 not answer
It's okay. Maybe they can't turn on their sound. Good morning, Balloon.
Good morning, teacher.
Nice job. Good morning, Copter.
คอปเตอร์ค่ะ คอปเตอร์ณัฐพลค่ะ
ครับ
นักเรียนขานชื่อด้วยค่ะ Good morning teacher ค่ะ
Good morning teacher
Nice job. Good morning, Kiki.
Good morning, teacher.
Nice work. Good morning, Pugan.
Good morning teacher
Great job. And that's all I have on my list. But if anyone else would like to say good morning, so I can get your name.
นักเรียนคนไหนที่ยังไม่ได้ขานชื่อคะ ยกมือเลย
หนู
ปอย1 ค่ะ
Good morning
เก่ง
teacher
ครับ
Nice job.
ผมยังไม่
ครับลูกเดี๋ยวทีเชอร์เรียกทีละคน ธนพัฒน์ลูก ฮะ
There you go. What's your name? Let me know
ธน
your
พัฒ
name.
น์ชื่อเล่นชื่ออะไรคะ
เติ้ลครับ
ฮะ
เติ้ลครับ
เติ้ลใช่ไหมใช่เติ้ลไหม
Noon.
เอิญธนพัฒน์ชื่อเล่นชื่ออะไรนะ
เติ้ลครับ
เติ้ลใช่ไหมเติ้ลไตเติ้ลนะ
ค่ะ
เติ้ลเจ็ด
เติ้ลTLE เติ้ล
Tul.
yes
Tul. TLE. Tul. Okay. Who else? I see a couple hands are raised.
iPhone นี่คือใครออโต้ใช่ไหมลูก
ใช่ครับ
ออโต้ Good morning ก่อนลูก Okay the connection is unstable
Mhm.
ภูมิพัฒน์ลูก
ครับ
หนูชื่อเล่นชื่ออะไรนะ
อาชีครับ
อาชีเซ Good morning teacher ครับ
teacher Good morning
Nice job. What's your name?
อาชิ
Oh, there's Achi. Hello. You weren't here earlier when I called your name. I'm glad you're here now. Who else? I see 2 more hands are raised.
พัทระเทพสวัสดิ์
ค่ะ
หนูชื่ออะไรนะพลอย
พลอยค่ะ
พลอย
Ploy. Good morning, Ploy.
Good morning teacher
Nice job. So we have 2 poys and 1 ploy.
yes
Got it. Doesn't ploy mean diamond?
yes it's mean a
Yeah.
diamond พลอย
That's so pretty.
นักเรียนมีใครยังไม่ได้ขานชื่อไหมคะ เล่นยกมือเลยนะคะ ถ้าไม่มีเราจะได้เข้าเนื้อหาบทเรียนแล้วนะ
ผมครับ
ผมครับอยู่ไหนลูก ผมคือใครอ่ะ
ตะวันครับ
ตะวัน Good morning teacher ก่อนค่ะตะวัน
Good morning teacher
Good morning. What's your name?
ตะวัน
ตะวัน
Kawan. Kawan. Hello, Kawan.
ตะวันใช่ไหมหนูชื่อตะวันใช่ปะ
ใช่ครับ
ครับ โอเค
Oh, Kawan. See, it helps me so I can spell your names right because I want to be able to say your name correctly. Your name is really important. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started so we don't take up too much time. Okay, so we're going to we're on Unit 5, Lessons 1 and 2. So today we're going to finish Lesson 2. And I have a pretty cool video for you guys to watch. All right, let me share my screen. There we go. We are grade 6, unit 5, lessons 1 and 2. So we already know all of our vocab. we did off we go and we answered, we selected the right words. We did a really great job with that. And we looked at the grammar pass. Yesterday, we looked at the grammar pass. The nearest planet to the sun is Mercury. The largest planet is Jupiter. And we talked about how we add EST to say that it's the most. There's nothing nearer to the sun. There's nothing larger. It is Mercury is the nearest. Jupiter is the largest. It's the most. Okay, so we talked about how the sentences are comparing many planets because they're talking about out of all 8, Mercury is the nearest. Out of all 8, Jupiter is the largest. And we use EST to compare more than 2 things. So now we're going to go down to number 3. Okay. And we are going to make true sentences and tell a friend. This one says, Mercury is the smallest planet in our solar system. And this one says, Mercury is the nearest planet to our sun. Both sentences are about which planet. Which planet are they both talking about? How about Cake? Can you tell us which planet these sentences are talking about? Or maybe Earn, or maybe Joy. Can someone help? Cake? What planet are these 2 sentences talking about?
ลองบอกทีเชอร์หน่อยค่ะว่าเห็น2ประโยคนี้ไหมที่เขามีการบอกว่าที่เขาพูดกับเพื่อนนะคะบอกทีเชอร์หน่อยว่าไอ้2ประโยคนี้เขาพูดถึงเรื่องอะไร
เรื่องของ
เห็นไหมตัวที่ทีเชอร์เขาไฮไลท์ตัวอะไรนะ Mercury.
Mercury. These sentences are about Mercury. Nice job. So I would like 5 students to think of a true sentence using any of our vocab words. Tell me a true sentence. Zoom out. There you go. So who can tell me a sentence about Neptune? Tell me a sentence about Neptune. Somebody give me a sentence about Neptune.
เด็กคะลองดูสิคะทีเชอร์เขาบอกว่าให้หนูเนี่ยลองบอกทีเชอร์หน่อยประโยคที่เกี่ยวกับ Neptune เราจะเอาประโยคได้จากไหนนักเรียนจำได้ไหมเมื่อวานเนี่ยทีเชอร์เขาเปิดเพลงให้ฟังเรื่อง Off We Go ที่ว่าเป็นเพลงเกี่ยวกับ Universe เกี่ยวกับ planet ทั้งหลายจำได้ไหมคะแล้วก็อันนี้ทีเชอร์เขาซูมเอาให้ดูอยู่นะคะเนื้อหาเพลงอะไรที่มันพูดถึงประโยคไหนที่มันพูดถึงดาวเนปจูนนักเรียนลองดูสิขอมา1ประโยคคีย์ได้ไหมลูกน้องคีย์เห็นในข้อที่1ไหมข้อที่1
เห็นครับ
ประโยคสุดท้ายเห็นไหมลูก
ครับ
You can say where it is in the solar system or what color it is, right? Tell me a sentence about Neptune.
บอกทีเชอร์หน่อยสิ Neptune ข้อที่หนึ่งประโยคก่อนสุดท้ายลูก There is the farthest planet named Neptune ใช่ไหม ใช่ไหมคะ Teacher can you zoom in a little bit
Oh yeah, to this.
Yes it's too small
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah. So we have all of this.
Neptune and it is blue.
Neptune is blue. Very good. Neptune is blue. That's a true sentence about Neptune. Great job. What about Jupiter? Can someone give me a sentence about Jupiter that is true?
นั่นเองคะขออีกหนึ่งประโยคเกี่ยวกับ Jupiter เห็นไหมข้อสอง The largest planet near our sun is อะไร เห็นข้อที่สองไหมลูก The largest planet near our sun is Jupiter ใช่ไหม ใช่ไหมคะออโต้ใช่ไหมคะ
ใช่ครับ
ใช่ครับนักเรียนอ่านขอตัวแทนหนึ่งคนอ่านประโยคนี้ให้ทีเชอร์เอมิลี่หน่อยเร็วออโต้ก็ได้ลูก
ตรง The Legend ตรงนั้นเหรอ
ใช่ the largest planet เนี่ยลูกข้อสอง
The largest planet near our sun Jupiter.
the largest planet
The
near our sun
largest planet near our sun is Jupiter. That is a true sentence about Jupiter. Nice job. Two more sentences. What about Saturn? What's a true sentence about Saturn?
ขออีกสองประโยคอันนี้ประโยคนี้ขอเกี่ยวกับ Saturn ค่ะ Saturn ดูซิ Saturn ดูซิ
Sentence about Saturn.
ข้อสองบรรทัดที่สามข้อสองบรรทัดที่สามเห็นไหมคะ Look Saturn's rings are very nice อ่านตามค่ะ Look
Look
Saturn's rings
are very nice.
Very nice. Good job. And the last one, what's a true sentence about planet Earth? What's a true sentence about planet Earth?
นี่ค่ะประโยคสุดท้ายโลกเกี่ยวกับ Earth ก็คือโลกที่เราอยู่เนี่ยขอมาหนึ่งประโยคน้องคีดูซิประโยคเกี่ยวกับ Earth
This little part doesn't really talk about Earth too much, so like maybe try thinking about like what you know about Earth, because that's where we live, right? Maybe what colors it is, or you can even say like we live on planet Earth. That would be a good true sentence.
นักเรียนเห็นประโยคเกี่ยวกับ Earth เนี่ยมันจะมีอยู่ในแบบฝึกหัด lesson 1 นะคะเมื่อกี้ที่ทีเชอร์พูดเลยค่ะพูดให้ทีเชอร์ฟังหน่อยค่ะเกี่ยวกับ Earth we live on planet Earth
You got it.
เปิดไมค์พูดหน่อยลูก we live on planet Earth
We live on planet Earth.
Great job. That's a true sentence about Earth. Great job. So we made true sentences and we told our friends. Great job. Thank you to those that participated and gave me a sentence. That was awesome. Okay, so now we're going to go to number 4. Page 18 in the language lodge. So we're going to go to our language lodge, page. What in the world? Page 18. Why won't it go to the next page? There it is. Page 18. Because we finished page 17 yesterday. Okay. So it has the grammar pass up on the top. The nearest planet to the sun is Mercury. The nearest planet to the sun is Mercury. And it says the largest planet is Jupiter. Okay. 2 true sentences. So number 1 says choose and complete. Kind of like on page 17, we're going to select one of these to fit in our sentences. Okay, so let me read these sentences first. Number 1 says blank mountain in the world is Mount Everest.
ใช้อะไรลูก
So we have the words large, cold, high, and near. So we're talking about a mountain. We're talking about a mountain. Are we going to use, what word do you think we're going to use to describe Mount Everest? Large, cold, high, or near?
near,
Near. Let's see. The nearest mountain in the world is Mount Everest. But near what? What is Mount Everest near? I don't know if that one fits in there, but thank you for that good try. Can anyone else help them out?
นักเรียน mountain ก็คือภูเขา
What
ลูก
about a mountain? Mountains are very tall.
เทือกเขาที่สูงที่สุดในโลกก็คือเทือกเขาเอเวอเรสต์คำว่าสูงที่สุดใช้คำว่าอะไรคะใน4คำนี้คำไหนที่แปลว่าสูง
high,
high
Good job. High. H I G H. And we have to add what at the end to say that it is the most high. What do we add at the end?
superlative form เราต้องเติมอะไรลงไปคะนักเรียน e อะไรคะ
en ค่ะ
est ลูก est นักเรียนจำไว้นะคะในรูปของ superlative form เราต้องใช้เป็น the แล้วก็ตามด้วย est คือสูงที่สุดอะไรที่เป็นที่สุดเราเรียกว่า superlative form นะคะ
Let me put it up here for you guys. E S T means equals the most. So when we put EST at the end of high, it means it's the most high, the highest mountain in the world is Mount Everest. Highest. Okay, S equals most.
ใส่เดอะไปข้างหน้าเลยลูกใส่เดอะไปข้างหน้าด้วยนะคะ
Highest. Okay, so we're going to cross that one out because we already used it. All right, you guys are doing so great. I know this is a little bit tricky. Number 2 says blank ocean in the world is the Pacific Ocean. Large, cold, or near? Think about the Pacific Ocean.
มหาสมุทรแปซิฟิก largest
So we would say L A R G E. Now, do we add EST or just ST? What do we have to add at the end?
นั่นเองค่ะมันมี e มาให้อยู่แล้วค่ะปกติเราต้องเติม est ถูกไหมแต่ว่ามันมี e มาให้นักเรียนแล้วนักเรียนเติมแค่อะไรคะ
ST
st
ST, because we already have that E there. Largest, which means it's the most large. Great job. You guys are doing so awesome. 2 more. Number 3, blank place on Earth is in Antarctica. Ooh, Antarctica. What do we know about Antarctica? Is it cold or is it near?
Forest.
Coldest. Great job. The coldest place on Earth is Antarctica. COLD. And what do we have to add at the end? What do we add at the end to say it's the most cold?
นักเรียนเติมอะไรลงไปคะ coldest est ค่ะ
EST, nice job. Thank you. Coldest. There is nothing colder. The coldest place on Earth is Antarctica. Now, the last one, we kind of already know because it's the only option left. But it says blank star to the Earth is the sun.
Nearest.
Nearest. Nice job. N E A R. What do we add at the end?
EST
EST. EST. Great job. The nearest star to the Earth is the sun. Way to go. Okay, let's go into our sentences. Okay, it says, write sentences. Earth, green, planet. Now we're going to add the EST at the end to say that these planets are the most of whatever they are. So look at number 1. Earth, green, planet. What sentence can we make? A sentence just like the grammar pass, but using these words. Can someone give me a sentence with these words? What are we going to make it say?
นักเรียนลองแต่งประโยคในรูปของ superlative form ค่ะเขามีคำมาให้3คำแต่งให้ teacher Emily หน่อยเร็วลูกช่วยกันเร็วช่วยกันนะคะใครแต่งได้พลอยพัทระพลอยได้ไหมมีคำว่า earth มีคำว่า green มีคำว่า planet
We're going to start with the word Earth. And then what do we put after that? Earth, what? Earth, what?
earth is ใช่ไหมเวลาเราแต่งประโยคเราต้องใช้ verb to be ตามหลังใช่ไหมคะ earth เนี่ยใช้อะไรคะ it is ใช่ไหมน้องพลอยแล้วคำว่า green the ทำให้เป็นขั้นสูงสุดเนี่ยเป็น superlative form เนี่ยใส่ the อะไรคะ greenness ใช่ไหมคะgreenness planet
Nice job. Greenest. Green. And green is a color. Greenest. EST. Can I write off of this? Yeah. planet. Planet. Earth is the greenest planet. Period. Because it's a sentence. Great job. Okay, not too bad. Number 2, Jupiter, large and planet. What sentence are we going to have for this one?
อ้นนพคุณแต่งประโยคให้ทีเชอร์หน่อยค่ะ
Jupiter is the largest planet.
Oh my gosh, great job. Yes, Jupiter is the largest planet. Jupiter is the largest, largest, largest. We already have E, so we only have to add the ST, planet. PLANET. Largest planet, period. All right, number 3, last one. We can do this. Neptune, cold and planet.
มิโกะค่ะ มิโกะนัชนาดีค่ะ มิโกะแต่งประโยคให้ทีเชอร์หน่อยค่ะ ประโยคสุดท้ายค่ะ Neptune
Neptune
is
the
อะไรคะ coldest
coldest
planet
planet.
Great job, Nico. Neptune is the coldest.
ให้หนู
It's very hard to type on, to write with my keypad. Coldest planet. NET. And don't forget your period at the end to tell us that the sentence is over. Neptune is the coldest planet. Woo! Y'all, that was so good. You guys did a great job. Earth is the greenest planet. Jupiter is the largest planet. Neptune is the coldest planet. Great job. Woo! All right, now we're gonna watch a fun video. It's a little bit long, but it's really interesting. So we're gonna watch it. Okay. And it is called Awesome, here it is. We're gonna go ahead and start it. Let me share my screen again. All right. Come on. All right.
Our solar system. Have you ever looked up into the sky and wondered what was there? Higher than the birds, past the clouds, and farther than the moon, a whole host of fascinating objects spin in outer space. Let's imagine for a moment that we can leave the Earth behind and explore the solar system that surrounds it. We call it the solar system because everything in it is centered around the sun, and solar means something to do with the sun. The sun is a star, just like many of the stars that you can see in the night sky, just many times closer to us. Still, the sun is very, very far away from the Earth, almost 93 million miles away. That's why it looks so small, even though it's the biggest object in the solar system.
Wow, look how
In
big
fact,
the sun is.
the sun makes up more than 99% of the mass in the solar system. If you put all of the planets, moons, asteroids, comets, and everything else in the solar system together, they would make up less than 0.25% of it. The sun is so big that it's more than 100 times wider than the Earth. And if it were a giant jar, you could fit more than 1 million Earths into it. More than that, the sun is what holds the solar system together. Its massive gravity is what keeps the Earth and all the other planets circling around it instead of drifting off into space. The sun is also what allows us to live on Earth. Without the sun, there would be no heat. There would be no light. Plants could not grow. Water would freeze and nothing could survive. The sun gives us heat and light because it is always burning. It is a giant ball of gas, mostly hydrogen and helium, and it burns at millions of degrees in its center. Let's leave the sun now to explore the planets. As we move away from the sun, the first planet we will encounter is Mercury. Mercury is the smallest planet in the solar system, much smaller than Earth, and one of only 5 planets you can see from Earth using nothing but your eyes. Of course, it won't look much like a planet. It looks more like a bright star, and many nights you can see it close to the horizon near sunrise and sunset. Mercury is a lot like our moon. It's small and has a rocky surface with craters on it. It has no moon of its own and no air to breathe. You probably wouldn't enjoy a visit to Mercury, since temperatures are boiling hot in the sun and freezing cold in the shade. Something interesting about Mercury is that it is the fastest planet to go around the sun. It only takes 88 days. Next is Venus, the second planet. Some people call Venus Earth's sister because the two planets are very close in size and gravity, but they are very different on the surface. First of all, it is very hot. Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system. It's not as close to the sun as Mercury, but its thick atmosphere of carbon dioxide helps it to trap the heat and stay warmer than its neighbor. It has a thick atmosphere, but it is not one you could breathe. It is mostly made of carbon dioxide, and there are clouds of sulfuric acid. Venus might not be fun to visit, but it is beautiful to look at. It is the second brightest object in the night sky. The only thing brighter is the moon. If you are looking at a sunrise or a sunset and suddenly notice what looks like a very bright star, you are probably looking at Venus.
That's pretty cool.
After Venus comes Earth, the third planet from the sun. Of course, you know all about Earth because that's the planet where we live. Earth is what's called a Goldilocks planet because it's not too hot and not too cold. It is just right. As far as we know, Earth is the only planet to have living things. Let's leave Earth again for a moment, though, and visit Mars, the fourth planet from the sun. Mars is known as the red planet because iron oxide, a material like rust, in the soil gives it a reddish color. Mars is smaller than Venus and the Earth, but larger than Mercury. It is cold and rocky, with a thin atmosphere made of carbon dioxide and oxygen. There is water ice on Mars. Scientists are very interested in Mars because they think that people could live there with the help of some special equipment. Rockets and probes have already been sent there to gain more information about the planet. Right now, there are 2 special robots exploring the surface of Mars, sending information back to Earth. Mars is the first planet we visited today besides Earth to have its own moons. It has two, although they are not big and round like our moon. Mars's moons are small and irregular. Scientists think they may be captured asteroids. Maybe they came from the big asteroid belt that is between Mars and Jupiter. An asteroid belt is a big ring of asteroids, or rocky objects, orbiting the sun. Jupiter comes next, the fifth planet in the solar system. Jupiter is the largest planet and is something called a gas giant. It is called this because it is really big and made mostly of gases. Jupiter is so big that you would have to place 11 Earths end to end just to stretch across its middle. Jupiter is also the third brightest object in the night sky. Only Venus and the moon are brighter. You can usually find Jupiter higher in the sky than Venus, since Jupiter is away from the sun and not towards it. Jupiter has at least 67 moons that circle around it, but 55 of them are very small, only about as big as a mountain or smaller. Some of its moons are very large, and at least 2 of them are about the same size as the planet Mercury. One of its moons is the largest moon in the solar system. Some of these large moons can be seen from Earth in your backyard with a telescope. People cannot land on Jupiter because it is made of gas. There is no ground to land on. Even if there was somewhere to land, Jupiter is covered by terrible storms, much stronger than even the strongest storms on Earth. One storm that we know about can be seen from Earth. We call it the Great Red Spot because that's what it looks like, and it has been going on for at least 200 years. After Jupiter comes Saturn, another gas giant. Saturn is famous for its beautiful rings. Although they look solid from a distance, the rings are actually made from many, many small ice particles, as well as rocks and dust. Saturn also has more than 60 moons orbiting around it, some as large as the planet Mercury and many smaller. Something interesting about Saturn is that even though it is very large, it is not very dense. That means that if you could find a bathtub large enough to put Saturn in, it would float instead of sink. Saturn is the farthest planet that can be seen from Earth without the help of a telescope. After Saturn comes Uranus, the 7th planet from the Sun. Uranus is another gas giant, but it is much smaller than Saturn and Jupiter. Unlike any other planet in the solar system, it is tilted so much that it actually spins sideways. Uranus has rings around it, although they are much smaller than Saturn's, and 27 known moons. Uranus is covered in blue clouds made of methane, which give it its lovely color. Very similar to Uranus is Neptune, the 8th planet from the Sun. Neptune is another gas giant, and like Uranus, it has methane in its atmosphere, so it also looks blue. Neptune is a darker blue than Uranus, and scientists aren't sure why. Neptune has a few thin rings and 14 moons that we know about. Because Neptune is so far out in space, it takes it a very, very long time to go around the sun. Remember Mercury, that only takes 88 days to go once around the sun? Poor Neptune takes over 164 years to finish an orbit around the sun. The last time that Neptune was in the same place it is now was before the American Civil War, before computers, phones, airplanes, or cars had been invented. Neptune has the longest orbit of any planet in the solar system.
Awesome. We're going to stop there because that's all of our time. And Pluto, she just says that Pluto is a dwarf planet now. We don't consider it a full planet. Okay. I hope you found that video interesting. I hope you heard all of those awesome comparing words: largest, longest, hottest, coldest. Okay, great job. I would like to have a friend pick a song for today. How about Ern? Do you want to pick a song for next class? We meet again next week. So do you want to pick a song for next Monday? Ern, do you want to pick a song?
น้องเอิญอ้าวหายไปแล้ว
I think she's going to get her phone to look it up or
Yes.
something. Let me see what we have in the chat. Nice job.
นึกค่ะครู
ได้เลยลูก
And then we'll say thank you and then we'll go. I know we're like a couple minutes over time, so. Any clean song that you want. I really appreciate those that had their cameras on and were participating today.
เนี่ยทีเชอร์แตงกวาทีเชอร์เห็นไหม
หายโอ้โหเห็นมากเลยน้องเอิญ
กลาง
เพลงอะไรอ่ะ ชื่อเพลงอะไรลาลิซ่า
Oh,
ลาลิซ่าเหรอ หรือว่ามัน
Larissa.
นี่
That was awesome. Another class picked that for today, so that's pretty
ลา
cool.
ลิซ่า
Lisa. Okay, we will do that on Monday. All right, let's sing our thank you song and then you can go. Thank you. Thank you. I really want to thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Nice job. You guys did great today. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye.
บ๊ายบายค่ะ
บ๊ายบายทีเชอร์ goodbye